Back here on SportsLine, here on News Channel 5 Plus, we continue our conversation with our buddy Joe Rexrode, sports columnist from The Athletic here in Nashville. Joe, kind of switching gears, going a little college football. Tennessee is back from the bye. They will play at LSU on Saturday. I don't know about you, but I kind of miss the Vols. I enjoy watching this offense. You know, I'm not the biggest Tennessee fan necessarily, but, man, I enjoy watching Hendon Hooker run this offense and the way Heupel has got this team playing. And, you know, it got a little dicey there against Florida, but they got the win, which, you know, doesn't happen very often against Florida. I mean, obviously the big tests are coming up. LSU is not going to be easy on the road. They still have to play Alabama and Georgia. But where are you at with this Tennessee Vols team? And, you know, how do you think the rest of the season could shape up for them?
Well, you know, I'm with you. The offense is a ton of fun. I mean, Hendon Hooker, I mean, it's amazing. You know, since, you know, he came in for Joe Milton last year in the loss to Pittsburgh, he threw one pick in that game. Since being a starter, he's accounted for 45 touchdowns. He has 2 picks.
Wow.
That's absurd.
He really is.
And the offense it's ridiculous. And he's just a great all-around college player. And I think that they got a chance to do something special. Now, how special, I don't know. I think they should go win at LSU, although Cedric Tillman's hurt, and I have my doubts about him playing Saturday. But, I mean, I think they should go win that game with their offense. And then, of course, it's number 1 Alabama coming into Knoxville. And then later this month, it's number 2 Georgia. They have, or I guess Georgia's the first weekend of November. They have Kentucky coming in. It's just, you know, you split those games. You beat Kentucky and LSU, and you're going to go to a New Year's Six game. So you're going to go to your best bowl game in 15 years if you just do that. Could they beat one of those 2 teams? I mean, I wouldn't predict it, but I don't think it's the crazy. I mean, look, we just saw Missouri almost beat freaking Georgia. So, I mean, obviously college football can be wacky. But I really think on those days where their offense is just razor sharp, man, they put pressure on the opposition. Their defense is very average, sometimes less than that. But when you have an offense like that, 1, like you said, it's fun, and 2, you can maybe overachieve a little bit and do different kind of, you know, do well beyond what people think going into a year.
Yeah, it's going to be fun to find out how the rest of the season goes for Tennessee. On the other side, obviously Vanderbilt, you know, they got pounded pretty good at Alabama as most expected. The decision for Clark Lee to sit Mike Wright and start the freshman A.J. Swan, you know, you go into that Northern Illinois game, and I felt going in, hey, Mike Wright at least deserves to start this game. I know, you know, he played poorly against Wake Forest, but nobody played well in that game. I thought, all right, you start Mike Wright, you give him a couple series, see what he does. If it's not working, then you yank him. But Lee decides to start Swan from the jump. They're down 14. All of a sudden, he leads them back. I mean, that was a gutsy decision by Lee, because if you get that wrong and you get your doors blown off at Northern Illinois, you pretty much lost your team. What are you going to do, go back to Mike Wright? So, you know, and it's going to take those kinds of decisions, right, for Clark Lee to turn this Vanderbilt program around and make them relevant, right? I give him full marks for that.
Yeah, well, no, I mean, I give him credit for being bold. I'll be honest. I didn't even think that at that point they should even consider pulling Mike Wright in the Northern. I was like, you know what? This offense is built around him. He had a rough day. You know, he had a couple turnovers that were really costly.
Yeah.
But they also didn't get the passing game going, and that was the thing. Swan came in late in that Wake Forest game, and he did go nuts. You're like, okay, it's garbage time.
Right.
They're playing a looser zone. What does it really mean? You know, but hey, I mean, he's talented. And look, this is the difference. You know, obviously Ken Seals and Mike Wright, those are 2 quarterbacks who did not get recruited to Vanderbilt by Clark Lee. A.J. Swan did get recruited to Vanderbilt by Clark Lee. And,
right.
You know, so that a lot of times also ends up being the difference, right? I mean, both of those guys are probably going to be somewhere else next year. So I'm with you, though. Like, if it had gone, just backfired on him, and Swan is bad, looks like it's just a freshman who isn't ready, yeah, it's like, okay, Mike, sorry, will you go back in? Yeah, I mean, you're right. It would have been a bad look and a bad deal for Clark Lee. So it worked out for him, and obviously, you know, I mean, look, you got to expect a head coach to know his team better than anybody else. I'm really interested to see, you know, how Swan looks against a human team, an Ole Miss, somewhat human, after like the Alabama game that you just flushed down the toilet. Because look, he is a talented guy. He made some plays at Northern Illinois game that were just wow plays.
Yeah, no doubt about it. He does have some talent, mobility, and a strong arm. Switching gears, Rex, wanted to ask you real quick about the Predators. They're ready to get going for real this weekend. 2 games in the Czech Republic against the San Jose Sharks. Friday at 1, Saturday at 1. You know, I look at this offseason, Rex, and I thought maybe they might embrace more of a rebuild, but obviously that's not happening. They signed Forsberg. They trade for Ryan McDonough, who I think is going to be a great fit for this team's culture and that locker room. And you sign you get a really good player in Nino Niederreiter at kind of a discount below market price. All that being said, I still don't think they have the elite talent to beat a team like Colorado or even in Edmonton. They're definitely a playoff team, but I see them as a playoff team that can maybe win a round, maybe 2. I don't see them as a strong Stanley Cup contender this year. Certainly hope I'm wrong, but what say you? What are your early thoughts?
Yeah, I agree. Well, I mean, they've gotten better, and it's still some Predators fans are like, no, like this group just is not going to win one, so why keep going forward? But I think a lot of Preds fans do look at the additions, like you said, Niederreiter and McDonough, and say, gosh, okay, now you can put Fabro down on the third pairing on defense, and now you actually might have a second line of Niederreiter and Johansson can be really good together. Sure. And you still have UC Saros, and it could be good. I mean, look, like, I wouldn't rule them out if everything went their way for being – I think they can compete with any other team in the West to be known as the second-best team. But I'm with you. I don't think that they're built to beat Colorado. I wouldn't expect that. And obviously they got their doors blown off without Saros, but I have my doubts about that. If they can win, if they can comfortably make the playoffs and win a playoff series for the first time since 2018 – well, then I think, I mean, at least they've come out of like the rough patch, and they can make things interesting. And I think fans get behind that. You still wonder. I mean, their core, all their best players are aging. Yeah. I mean, Tanner Jeannot is a really nice young player, but like Tolvanen hasn't worked out. Fabro, I mentioned. We're going to see on Tomasino. It looks like he may not even be in the lineup on Friday. So the young guys, have not been panning out. So at some point, you figure that's going to hit them hard. But I do think they could be a very good team this year.
And lastly, Joe, obviously, you and I are big baseball fans. Obviously, I'm a Yankee fan. It was great seeing Aaron Judge hit number 62 last night, breaks Roger Maris's long-standing 61-year AL record set in 1961. Kind of ironic. He wore number 9. Judge wears number 99. I want to get your thoughts on this. A lot of people feel like this is actually the single-season home run record because Aaron Judge is considered a quote-unquote clean player. Obviously, Barry Bonds still has the record, 73 in 2001. He's widely, suspected of using PEDs, although he never tested positive. Of course, there was McGuire and Sosa, who, it's pretty obvious that all 3 of those guys did performance-enhancing drugs. In my mind, Barry Bonds is still the single-season home run king because, during that time, steroids were illegal in baseball, but nobody was testing for it. And I believe Bud Selig and the commissioner's office knew exactly what was going on. But baseball had come back to such a feel-good part of Americana that they kind of looked the other way. What say you about, first, Aaron Judge, the season he had, breaking the record, and is it, in your mind, the record because Aaron Judge is considered quote-unquote clean?
Well, first of all, I'm with you. It's tremendous. He's awesome. It's been a great story and great to follow. But I completely agree with you. Look, go back and go back to the early 1900s when these guys were, who the heck knows what they were putting on the ball, and I don't know, like this Babe Ruth being just hung over out of his mind, hitting 4 homers. Is that a performance-enhancing drug? I don't know. But I always assume, the thing about performance-enhancing drugs is a lot of times you can go for a while with something before it's even known to be tested for, right? Right. So people are like, well, Aaron Judge is clean or whoever today is clean. I don't know what they're doing or not doing. I have no idea. True. I mean, yes, it was egregious in the steroid era. There's no doubt about it. But I'm with you. I mean, that's the record. And there's a lot of eras of baseball and players where they're dubious, things around their performance. Nothing as extreme as that, but to me, if it's just a yes or no, then yes, the record is Barry Bonds, 73.
Mm-hmm.
He won 73, right?
Yeah, 73, yeah, in 2001. You know, the funny part is, Rex, I think about this a lot. You imagine if there were steroids back when Mickey Mantle played. You're telling me he wouldn't have took them? As crazy as that guy was, as reckless as that guy was off the field, right?
I mean, you're smoking 2 packs of Pall Malls a day. Why not a little bit of roids,
And, the greenies and the uppers that, I heard stories that Willie Stargell used to pass them around in like a candy dish and give them to all his teammates with the Pirates. So, you're right.
I mean,
you know what I'm saying?
I mean, bowls of cocaine too. At the end of the bench. I mean, it's
Yeah.
Let's be real.
I know. Well, we'll always keep it real when you come on, Rex. I appreciate it. By the way, I understand you have a anniversary to celebrate with your lovely wife, 20 years. Congratulations, my friend.
Thanks, buddy. Yes, Katie Rexrode, a brave soul, married to me for 20 years. So, yes, very excited about that. So, she deserves a Medal of Honor or something like that.
Well, give my best to her and the rest of your family. Joe, always a pleasure. Great talking with you. And we'll see you, I'm sure, very soon.
All right, JB. I appreciate it, man.
All right.
Take care.
There he goes, Joe Rexrode, sports columnist from The Athletic. We'll take another break. We'll come back, talk a little college football, as we said. I kind of missed Tennessee. They were on the bye last week. They're at LSU on Saturday. We'll hear a little bit from Coach Heupel coming up right after this.